Hey guys, I'm trying to hit 10k subscribers by the end of the year and I think we can get there with your help, so please subscribe. It would honestly mean a lot to me. Now let's go right into the stories.
I found my sister's texts to my husband while searching for my missing car keys. It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon when everything unraveled. The sun streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow that should have felt comforting. Instead, I felt a chill crawl down my spine as I rifled through the clutter on the counter, searching for my car keys. That's when I noticed my husband's phone, face up, lying carelessly beside the coffee maker. I should have walked away. I should have respected his privacy. But curiosity, oh, how it can be a double-edged sword, got the better of me. I grabbed the phone, intending to glance at the time, but instead, my eyes landed on the notification that lit up the screen. A message from a contact labeled simply as Jess. I knew Jess. My younger sister. My heart raced as I clicked on the message, a knot forming in my stomach. Can't wait to see you tonight. Just us, right? Kiss mark. For a moment, everything around me faded away. The sound of the refrigerator humming, the distant chatter of the kids playing outside, it all disappeared as the world shrank down to that single message. My breath caught in my throat. I clicked back, scrolling through a thread that sent my mind spiraling. The messages exchanged were laced with flirtation, innuendos, and plans that no sister or brother-in-law should ever make. Just a quick kiss, promise, one read. You're the best part of my week, another followed. Panic gripped me. I stumbled backward, dropping the phone on the counter. The dull thud echoed in my ears as I sank into a nearby chair. My mind raced with disbelief, anger, and confusion. How could this happen? How could Jess, my sister, my confidant, betray me like this? And how could my husband, the man I'd trusted for years, respond so willingly to her advances? I needed air. I stood up, pacing around the kitchen, trying to process what I had just uncovered. The room felt suffocating, and my heart pounded louder with every step. I could hear the kids laughing outside, blissfully unaware of the chaos brewing within the walls of our home. As I paced, I thought about the last few months. Things hadn't been perfect between Mark and me, but I never thought infidelity would rear its ugly head. Mark had been working late more often, and our conversations had grown stale, but I had chalked it up to the stress of his job. Jess had been in a rough patch with her own relationships, confiding in me about her struggles and heartbreaks. I'd offered her my support, my empathy. I never imagined she would turn that support into betrayal. I grabbed Mark's phone again, the screen flickering to life under my touch. The messages were all too clear, and I needed to confront him. There was no way I could sit on this knowledge, no way I could let it fester. I stormed into the living room, where Mark was sprawled on the couch, flipping through channels. He glanced up, momentarily startled by the intensity in my eyes. "What's wrong?" he asked, trying to gauge my mood. I thrust the phone in his direction, my voice shaking. "Explain this." His brow furrowed as he took the phone from me. I watched as the color drained from his face. He tried to respond, but the words faltered on his lips. I can explain. Can you?" I interrupted, feeling the heat of anger rising within me. What could possibly justify this? He sighed, his gaze dropping to the floor as he began to speak. It started as a joke, a little harmless flirting, but then... I don't know. It just happened. I never intended for it to go this far. I felt my heart shatter with each word. So it was just a joke? You think this is funny? What about me? What about our kids? I messed up, I know, he said, his voice laced with desperation. I don't love her. I love you. I was confused. Confused? I shouted, my voice echoing in the room. You think that's a good excuse? You think it's okay to betray your wife like this? He stood up, moving closer to me. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. It was a moment of weakness. A moment of weakness? I scoffed, stepping back from him. You've been texting her for weeks. This wasn't a moment, this was a choice. Before he could respond, the kids burst into the room, their laughter ringing out like an innocent chime, a stark contrast to the storm brewing between us. I felt the bile rise in my throat. How could I let them see us like this? Mom, Dad. Look what we found, my eldest shouted, holding up a half-eaten cookie. Not now. I snapped, the frustration spilling over. The kids exchanged glances, their joy faltering. Go outside and play, I said, my voice softer now, realizing I needed to protect them from the fallout. As they left, I turned back to Mark, my resolve hardening. This is not something we can brush under the rug. I need time to think. His face fell, and I could see the fear in his eyes. Please don't leave me. I'll do anything to make this right. But how could he make this right? The trust had been shattered, and once it's broken, it's incredibly hard to mend. I felt like I was standing on a precipice, looking down into an abyss I didn't want to jump into. I walked to the door, gripping the handle tightly. I need space. I can't even look at you right now. I stepped outside, the cool air hitting my face, a stark reminder that life continued outside this nightmare. I walked down the street, each step echoing in my mind. I didn't have a plan, I just needed to clear my head. After a few blocks, I found myself sitting on a bench in the local park. The sun was starting to set, casting a golden hue over everything. I could hear children laughing, couples chatting, the world moving on as if nothing was wrong. My heart felt heavy, and I wondered how everything had turned upside down so quickly. My phone buzzed, and I instinctively looked at it. A message from Jess. I hesitated, my heart racing. Should I respond? Should I confront her, too? My fingers hovered over the screen, but I couldn't bring myself to reply. The thought of talking to her, of hearing her voice, made my stomach churn. After a long moment of contemplation, I decided to call my best friend, Sarah. She answered on the first ring, her voice warm and inviting. Hey. What's up? I need to talk. Can I come over? Of course. I'll make tea, she said, her tone shifting to concern. As I made my way to Sarah's house, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I thought of all the moments I had shared with Jess, the laughter, the late-night talks, the memories. Now, they felt tainted, like shadows of a past I could no longer trust. When I arrived, Sarah opened the door with a welcoming smile, but that quickly faded when she saw my expression. What happened? She asked, leading me to the living room. I sank onto the couch, my hands trembling. It's Mark. And Jess. As I recounted the events, I felt the weight of the world lift off my shoulders. Sarah listened intently, her eyes wide with sympathy. When I finished, she reached over, squeezing my hand. I'm so sorry. You deserve so much better than this. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. I just don't know what to do. You'll figure it out, she said gently. You're stronger than you think. Just take it one day at a time. In that moment, surrounded by a friend who cared, I felt a flicker of hope. This wasn't the end, it was just the beginning of a long, hard journey. I didn't know where it would lead, but I knew I had to prioritize my well-being. And maybe, just maybe, I could find a way to navigate through this mess and emerge stronger on the other side.